What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and we're reviewing The Mandalorian Chapter 2 The Child. And we first start off, and they reiterate that he wants the Beskar, essentially. Yeah, I would have wanted it, at least, especially if it was like a equipment thing and I'm playing a game, or even just like in general. And he had just picked up the bounty to deliver to whoever for the Beskar. And we immediately, after the recap, get the setup for the entire episode. And we get a fight between the Mandalorian and like three or four other like lizard guys. I forget what they're called. I think two of them have the vibro like halberds. I wanted to say axe, vibro axe. The weapons that they have occasionally in like certain books and the old games. They're like regular like melee weapons, but they like the blade like vibrates and it kind of has this cool looking effect on the show. It almost looks like it's glowing, but it's like radiating like I guess force. What I'm really pointing out is like more of the small touches that they like put in for like the fact that they had more time for the first season. It seems to our character and the audience that there's more people with the tracking fobs to eliminate the little baby Yoda person than there was the one that was to bring it in. And oh, we can't forget the really cool rifle that our main character has. I think it has like a tuning fork on the end of it. It's probably like a proton rifle or something like that. But there's no like open barrel for the stuff to shoot out of. And it just like disintegrates whatever it hits too. With a few more of the uh fight scenes showing the durability of the Mandalorian armor. Although most of it was like from the pike's little handle, but there was like a few hits directly from the blade that the Mandalorian like blocked with his like little bracers or just little this cross formation with his arm or cross block, which is saying something just because like in some of the books and the game these weapons went up against lightsabers as well, along with the like I think they're called force pikes, the little electrical purple electrical thing like at the end of those little staffs. At least in episode 2, I think, with the assassin droids. Just more competing things, although it kind of like upsets all the people that are the diehards for the lightsabers. And then we get, of course, nothing convenient for our main character, but there's a bunch of Jawas and their little like uh sandcrawler, and there's just a bunch of Jawas like ripping up the ship that he came on. And after what I can only describe as a fun scene to shoot, but the worst thing to happen to the character, he tries to scale the sandcrawler while it's moving, and then the Jawas are like throwing stuff on him. And he eventually does a little like grappling hook action thing and tries to like scale up the sandcrawler like Adam West style. But eventually he ends up disabled with some shots from the Jawas and from on the top of it, and he falls off, and he's at least in the shade because I know like I can't even like if I'm way too hot in the sand or in my bed, I would just immediately wake up. But I guess he did kind of get tased too. But he falls into the sand and wakes up like sometime later, and all there is like the trail of the sandcaller and the little space bassinet with the little green person staring at him. Still just kind of like studying him after the part where they kind of like tease you with him like trying to like maybe force healing him like none of the movies or shows do, but is definitely in the game. And since that, then I know at least this whole episode, I think he's like gonna do something. Like, I don't know if it's like gonna be like telepathic or him healing or something like that, but he goes back to what's left of the ship and then tries everything, and his arsenal's gone. There's like visible holes in his ship, and then we get a walking in the desert montage, which is another Star Wars original thing. Maybe not that type of those types of shots, but is definitely a favorite. You get the horizon, and then just like a little, barely a silhouette in the middle, and he goes back to the little like farmer rancher guy. And one of my favorite like in general things to happen is they know turnaround acknowledgement as a character approaches, and the the little guy's like working on like his little tower or something, and without missing a beat, he's like, "Oh, I thought you were dead, man." Like as the main character shows up with the bassinet, and what I feel is more original as the main character is like, explaining everything. His little like gauntlet bracer thing is like malfunctioning, but it's like lighting up like Palpatine's like force lightning. I feel like they had a few of the original people like an ear or two, or just George Lucas somewhere, just like giving them some pointers as they start out or beforehand. I don't know if they have like some original program that was so old school and cheap to use. Another one of those nod things from things that it came from. If it was even one of those things, it was like, oh, cool. It makes me like wonder what the movie systems like ran on, or maybe they just had something like really old still with like Windows 95 or something. Just like still on there, like no need to upgrade or anything. I'm sure it was spectacular when it was like first made or something like that. So if you're just going for like whatever they had already going on there, it was probably more than enough. But almost as like a merger of the past and present, or maybe just like two different like film companies. Like the little Yoda guy is like a chasing like a little frog around, and he eats it. But it's the kind of frog that was like kind of like shiny. It's like well like articulated and like textured and stuff, but it's just like a little bit like kind of glowy, shiny thing like they used to have before there's like the Thanos looking like effects. At least before you'd be like, oh, it's like they put a cartoon like thing that they worked on a lot. You didn't think it was like CG because like most people didn't know that until like the DVD or whatever would explain. And now like it's kind of like expected. It's like if it's gonna be like fantasy style. But I guess his species is like those kinds of animals that like expands a little bit to have a really big piece of food in their stomach is the other like funny noticeable thing. But eventually the three of them go to the Jawas, make a deal with the Jawas, and then they have to go to this cave where the Mandalorian and For some reason, the Baby Yoda goes with as well to get this egg for the Jawas. So if he gets the egg, he gets all his ship parts back. But to say the least about it, he gets rocked. He gets jostled around in the mud, like heavily. His front chest piece is like peeling off. A little sad too, because he like repaired it like by the fire one night, and it's only getting worse. But eventually, the rhino bear thing that lays eggs is hoisted up like with nothing but the little baby Yoda's hand from the bassinet, and it's lifted for like maybe 5 seconds, long enough for everyone to be baffled, including the thing with the really big horn and our main character with the vibro knife he has, like stabs it and one shots it from there. But he's still baffled because he like doesn't even know what that is or what's going on. He's like, "Oh, is that why you're being bountied or whatever it is that they call it, sought after?" But as it's being dropped, the baby Yoda had passed out because I guess it's still like a kid, but has force powers, at least known to the audience. But the egg is retrieved. Apparently, the Jawas just like slice that open, the weird fuzzy egg that does not look like you should eat it raw, but they slice it open with a knife, like just the top of it, and reach in this like watermelon sized egg and start eating the yolk like it's cheese or something. And he gets the stuff back, and then the valley's caretaker, we could say, or small like guide, kind of says some nice things that people would like to hear if you're a stranger to a new place, and almost like mischievously calls that he's probably gonna protect the baby. I don't know if that's like a type of person that he has scoped out and knows for sure that would like raising a kid or needs to have a kid or something like that. But he's like, "Oh, I hope it stays alive," and it goes to where it needs to, basically, and leaves after they both had put the ship back together after carrying the parts back to the, I guess, frame of the ship. But that was the end of the episode. One of those, like, wise, almost like foreboding goodbyes. It was kind of like my other favorite, like, movie show, like, trope. So I thought that was a pretty good ending. But yeah, this was Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. Join us next time for Chapter 3, The Sin. But wait, hey, if no one's told you yet, you look good. And it shows.